But for me, in terms of promotion and inviting people into the conversation, again, I was really focused on the momentum piece. I think a common misconception is that people think it's just the number of upvotes that matters. That's not the case. The algorithm prioritizes momentum. So, the first 30 upvotes are more important than the next 30 after that. The first 100 is more important than the subsequent, 300. These aren't, exact. It's like, the Google algorithm. There's no,
no one knows.
To it,
yeah.
But...
Welcome to the Show Me the Data podcast by LeadSift, where every week we get marketing and sales leaders from fast-growing B2B tech companies to share specific tactics they use to drive revenue for their business. The best part, they share the exact metrics and data points behind each of their tactics. I'm your host, Tukan, the co-founder and CEO of LeadSift. See you there. Hello, everyone. My guest today is Nicole Markisohn, the head of marketing at Finmark. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks a lot for being with us. So to begin with, Nicole, can you tell us a little bit more about what Finmark does?
Yeah, absolutely. So Finmark is a financial modeling platform specifically designed for startups. So we help founders take the guesswork out of building a strong financial model by taking some of these really complicated financial concepts and calculations and distilling them down into a really simple and easy to use dashboard. So it makes it super easy for founders to create and share their financial plans, manage their burn rate and cash, forecast revenue, and ultimately, help plan for fundraising and share their financial models with their investors.
Awesome. Something that I think we should use at LeadSift because that's something that I struggle with as someone without much finance background. But that's super cool. So I guess today we are going to talk about Finmark and Product Hunt. You guys became the product of the day. Is that what it's called? Product of the day?
We did, yes. Number one product of the day when we launched in October, and then we actually won the product of the year, the fintech category in the Product Hunt Golden Kitty Awards, they call them.
Wow. Okay, amazing. So we're going to dig deep into everything around the strategy, the process, and metrics. But before I get started on that, I guess from a strategy perspective, based on LinkedIn, it looks like you joined in September and you guys launched towards end of October. What was the reasoning behind, you guys coming up with the strategy to launch in Product Hunt and that being your big project, I guess?
Yes, that was definitely my first big project after coming on board. I did have the benefit of, I've worked with Rami Assad, our CEO at a previous company. I know the team pretty well, so that made my onboarding process easier, certainly. But for us, launching on Product Hunt, there were a couple of goals there. I think for us, knowing that the Product Hunt community, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders, a lot of people who are in our target market that we were really eager to get in front of. We were also at this time coming out of our beta program, moving towards general availability, and we wanted product feedback. So it was really this perfect situation for us that, the Product Hunt community, it was our target audience, and they're also a community of people who likes to try things out. They like to test things. They like to try new software out. So it was a good opportunity for us to get in front of them, build some familiarity with our brand and drive signups, but also get that really crucial feedback on the product from that community.
Got it. So this was the first time that you were basically letting the world know that Finmark's live and it's available for other people to sign up. Like this launch was that?
Yes, this was definitely our most significant launch. We've done some, there's some other press activity, and we've been gradually moving towards, opening up our wait list to more folks. But yes, this was very much our big splashy launch.
Awesome. So now let's go a little deeper. So you've joined and you've decided, Product Hunt is the launch strategy. What was the process from coming up with the idea to actual, launch day? Can you walk us through the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was my first ever Product Hunt launch. So for me, it started with a ton of research. There's a lot of information out there about, Product Hunt launches, what to do, what not to do. A lot of it is conflicting, which I think, we'll talk about later. I think some of the mistakes that people make and some of the, not as productive ideas that are out there. But yeah, for me, it was research, reach out to everybody in my network. Who's done this? How did you do it? And really looking at the there's just figuring out what are the specs, what do we actually need to deliver? And it's not a lot of real estate for a product hunt launch in terms of, space for your messaging. It's a short tagline, a logo, a few images, and a short paragraph of copy. So we knew that we needed that to be laser focused. It absolutely had to hit the mark because there's just, we've got one shot to get in front of this audience, and we needed to make sure that it was punchy and that we're really communicating our value. So it was thinking a lot through our target persona, end users, and then just I'd spent the bulk of my time in preparation on the messaging. So, it's the longest I've spent on probably a 60-character tagline in my life, just making sure that it, really communicated our value, working with a graphic designer to make sure that the imagery was a really good reflection of our product. For us, so much of the value of our product is the visual experience of, seeing your financial model in this dashboard format for the first time. And we wanted to make sure that we were communicating that value of our product offering to the community, and drafting up our, the introduction, and then also the maker response, which is really basically the note from our founder and CEO introducing the product to the community, talking a little bit about that, just create, the creative, the messaging, and the imagery. That was where I spent the bulk of my time. And I think if that really hits the mark, the promotional piece and building excitement is easier. So that's the piece that, don't skimp on, make sure your messaging hits the mark.
Okay. And how long did it take you, Nicole, from ideation to launch? Like, what was the time period for you to?
We had been, talking about doing a product hunt launch from the day that I came on board, but I think it was between 2 and 3 weeks. We picked a date, drew a line in the sand and said, we are launching on this day. Okay, we've got, 2 weeks to make this happen. And then really started preparing in earnest.
Amazing. Now, what was the offer? Like, were you driving people to the Finmark homepage, or was it a specific landing page you built for Product Hunt for them to sign up for something? So what was the offer there?
Yeah, we sent them to a page, we call it our Get Started page, but it's to start a 30-day trial of the product. So that's where we were directing people from the Product Hunt listing.
Got it. So it was like they could just sign up and get 30 days trial without even talking to anyone or anything like that?
We do, yes, a 30-day trial of the product just directly from the Product Hunt landing page.
Amazing. So now, and we'll talk about how many people signed up and all that good stuff. But in terms of the actual process of, getting featured, one thing I have read in few articles where it says, it's super important to be getting hunted by an influencer who is one of them, or a hunter. What was your process? Like, what did you guys do there?
So we had a significant benefit in that area, in that we were part of the YC S20 cohort. And so we had access to a network of hunters through that. So it's tough for me to say how important or not important it is, because we obviously had that benefit going in. I will say, from what I read in my research and my experience with launching, is that it certainly helps. You shouldn't consider it a blocker if it's not something that you have access to, because having a well-known hunter, it definitely gives you a bump in getting you higher on that featured page initially. But if you don't have the momentum to sustain it, you're going to drop pretty quickly. And so it's certainly a nice to have, but it shouldn't stop people if they don't have access to it.
Okay, so now the product's hunted, and do you get your, early adopters or customers that are beta testing, or folks from other YC companies? Do you give them a heads up saying, hey, that our product's launching? Can you give us some love, comment, and share experiences? What is that process?
So we actually didn't do a whole lot of audience building beforehand, partially because we had, for our customers who are in beta, we're really laser focused on giving them the best possible experience with our product. We didn't really want to bother them with something like this. We were very fortunate that once we launched, a lot of them of their own accord saw that the conversation was happening and came over and chimed in. But we weren't too pushy with our existing audience about getting them over there. We did talk to our employees and our kind of networks. We gave a few people a heads up to let them know that it was coming, but we were more focused on the quality of the messaging, and then the day of promotion to try to build excitement and draw people into the conversation.
What strategies did you use to, once the product's launched, what strategies did you use to build the excitement? Like, I have seen people post on certain focus groups saying, hey, we are live, it will be great, this is what we do. What are the different things that you guys did? there?
Yeah, I think we posted, and that is another area where we did some preparation in advance, where we talked amongst, our employee base and talked about, networks that people were a part of, and really just dividing and conquering. There's a lot of overlap. So it's like, okay, this Slack group, you're very involved over there, you should ping them on the day, and just kind of assigning that work out in advance. But the day of, my focus really was on that momentum piece. And so they say one of the best pieces of advice that I saw is that your promotion should follow the sun. So having a plan for, when you first launch. So for us, we had some employees and some folks in our network based in Europe and the UK. And so they were kind of our first line of, okay, it's live, go in, upvote, interact, comment. And then as, the day progressed and more people were awake, more people were getting involved. But for me, in terms of promotion and inviting people into the conversation, again, I was really focused on the momentum piece. I think a common misconception is that people think it's just the number of upvotes that matters. That's not the case. The algorithm prioritizes momentum. So, the first 30 upvotes are more important than the next 30 after that. The first 100 is more important than the subsequent, 300. These aren't, exact. It's like, the Google algorithm. There's no,
no
magic
one knows.
key to it,
Yeah.
but yeah. And so when I saw our rank stagnating, or if I saw that we dropped a spot or two, I would do another push. So maybe grab, if there was a compelling conversation going on in the comments, take a screenshot, post it on Twitter and say, hey, great conversation going on over on Product Hunt. Go check it out. We'd love to hear what you think. And it was very much about inviting feedback, not go vote for us. It was very much, we've launched a thing. We're so proud of it. We're really excited to bring it into the world. We want to hear what you think about it.
I love it. So you were monitoring discussions throughout the day, pretty much.
Yes. And that's another piece of advice. So I think for us, our CEO and co-founder, he cleared off the whole day and was just responding to comments, and that was it. And so I think if you're considering a Product Hunt launch, you need at least 2 people all in on the day of, one monitoring the promotion, positioning, other channels and, promoting your Product Hunt launch, and the other one just responding to comments and engaging with the community.
Amazing. No, that's a good advice. I spoke to someone about something, and he mentioned that they were launching on Product Hunt the next day or the day before they launched. And he's like, I didn't get a lot of sleep that day from launching. I think it goes up, as you said, early with the sun, and they were in the West Coast. He's like, I didn't get a lot of sleep. So that's very cool. Okay. So now that you have launched and you're getting some momentum, traction, you're seeing votes going up, you're engaging people. Let's talk about the real metrics. So your goal, you said, was really to get more signups so that you can get the fastest way to get some validation, early product feedback and all that. So what were some metrics that you were tracking to say, this was a successful launch?
So we tracked referral traffic to our website and signups, and it ended up being, by far, even to this day, by far our best single day for signups for our product. And so, that was super valuable feedback. I think on the more qualitative side of things, we wanted to see what people were saying in the comments. How are people reacting to the pricing structure? Do people get it? Do people understand what it is that we're offering? Does our product offering and the way that we're presenting it seem to be connecting with the community? But I think in terms of, the raw marketing metrics that we were after, my main goal in terms of marketing and promotion, I wanted to be in the top 3, can't remember actually whether it's 3 or 5 slots for product, most popular products of the day, because those are the ones that get featured in the Product Hunt newsletter that goes out the next day. And so that gets, so you get a ton of traffic just from being towards the top of the list on the day of, but then another significant bump from when the newsletter goes out the following day. So I wanted that newsletter traffic. So that was kind of a personal goal for me. But yeah, I think website signups, conversions, and then continuing to track through the funnel. Okay, great. These people were interested and they signed up. Are they having a successful experience in, their trial of the product? Is it ultimately converting into, new customers for us?
Got it. How many upvotes did you guys get?
1,000.
Oh, wow.
I want to pull up our page right now. And as of today, we're at 1,059. I think we were probably just shy of 1,000 the day of, and then the page stays live forever, so they continue to trickle in.
1,000. That's amazing. And how many visitors did you see coming to your website?
Oh, volume of visitors. I don't remember off the top of my head the volume of traffic, but I mean, it was a 10x spike over what we saw on a normal day.
Wow, that's incredible. And in terms of signups, then Nicole, where did you see higher conversion of the people that are coming from Product Hunt versus normal people coming?
Yes, Product Hunt, and still to this day, it's actually one of our. It's a higher converting source for us. I think it's our perfect target audience. So we have that benefit for us that depending on somebody else who's considering a launch, if the Product Hunt audience isn't exactly that perfect fit for them, they might have a different experience. But yeah, generally speaking, for us, the Product Hunt audience is ready to, they like to try things and they like to tinker. So if they sign up for a trial, they're probably likely to go in and want to start playing around. They were very, we're super grateful for that audience because they're eager to offer their opinions. They want to get in, they want to get their hands dirty, they want to try things out. So yeah, it was a great fit for us.
Amazing. And did you get in the hundreds of new signups on that day, Nicole, just through Product Hunt?
Yes. I think it was 600 plus.
In one day?
Yes.
That is incredible. Amazing. And these are it. I don't know if you guys profile the user. Were they the right kind of people, Nicole, that you would want them as customers and users later on?
Yeah, so at the time, since we were so early on in our journey, we didn't want to, we had an idea of who our target user were, and on our, Get Started form, we're asking things like, how advanced are you in terms of, how much funding have you received? How far along in your startup journey are you? How much revenue are you bringing in? We had theories about our product market fit there in terms of where, but, we didn't want to arbitrarily bucket people into groups until we knew for a fact that there was some correlation in the data for how, if there's a certain type of person that is having more success with the product than others. So we're asking questions, but we also kind of let everybody in from the Product Hunt side of things because we wanted, you're showing interest, you want to try it out, come on in, try it, and then seeing how it converts down the funnel, and that proved to be successful for us. It is still a very high converting channel for us.
Amazing. And did you follow a waitlisting strategy where you were only letting X number of people sign up at one time, and then you were doing any waitlisting, or was it everyone?
For Product Hunt, that was part of our offer for Product Hunt, is that if you're coming in from Product Hunt, you're skipping the waitlist and we're letting you in. So yes, we did have a waitlisting strategy, but yeah, for the Product Hunt audience specifically, we wanted to make sure it was a low barrier to entry for them.
Amazing. And in your product onboarding flow there, Nicole, everyone gets 30 days trial, Product Hunt or not, and then they have to convert into a paying customer.
Yeah.
Is that it? Or they get is it a freemium forever for a limited feature?
It's not a freemium forever. It is a 30-day trial and then a paying customer. Our lowest pricing tier is $25 a month. And then it scales based on annual revenue. Got
it. Cool. And from a conversion perspective, Nicole, of the 600 people that had signed up on that day, did a healthy percentage of them convert into paying customers after the 30 day?
Yes, actually, let me. Oh, and I apologize. It wasn't 600. That was our total for that entire month. I misspoke before.
That's all good.
But so Product Hunt for us, it's by far our highest converting source. Nice. So 13% roughly.
From free trial to conversion, that's a pretty high number. I think the average is 8% or something. That's what people say.
Yeah, and I mean, we for me at least, I think industry benchmarks are helpful, but there's nothing like having your own data. So
totally.
Comparing apples to apples against other sources in our pipeline is it's definitely been a successful channel for us.
That's amazing. And cool. So now let's go to the final section of it. So given the fact that you've gone through a pretty successful Product Hunt launch where you were the number one product of the day, what advice would you give to others that are thinking of launching a product on Product Hunt? What would be some advice?
I think First and foremost, don't get too caught up in trying to game the product hunt algorithm. There's a lot of information out there about, shortcuts and, tips and tricks. And really at the end of the day, I think making sure, focusing on the messaging, making sure that your messaging resonates, that you're very clearly communicating what is your product, what value does it have to offer, and, engaging in the discussion. And, if you're just going into it saying, I want the visibility, I want the signups, that's fine, but I think you're missing an opportunity to really engage with a community that's going to provide very, directive, effective feedback. So yeah, I think there's two pieces of advice there. Don't get too caught up in trying to game the algorithm. Just, try to come up with very clear, concise, authentic messaging that communicates your product's value. And then I think also consider other goals that you might have other than, being number one product of the day. There are elements of that are out of your control. You can do everything right, have the best ever launch, the coolest product, and then, you don't know what else is launching that day. There are things that are out of your control. We almost got displaced by a product called McBroken, which somebody reverse engineered the McDonald's ordering API to order an ice cream from every McDonald's in the world every minute to report back on whether the ice cream machine is broken.
That is hilarious
and genius. And if it had launched any other day, I would have been so excited and wanted them to win. But yeah, for it to launch on our day, I was like,
no. you can't compete with McDonald's. So there you go.
Right.
So okay. That is very, very cool and great advice. Do you think, Nicole, there are certain specific kind of products, SaaS products that are or product features or products that are more tailored for a launch in product hunt? I mean, for your case, it totally makes sense. Startup entrepreneurs, founders, they literally live in that ecosystem. But do you think there are certain products that are more suited for product hunt type launch than others?
Yeah, I think, SaaS or software is obviously it's much easier to, make a connection that's very clearly, a great target audience for that. But I don't think you should necessarily discount it if that's not if you're not a SaaS or a software product. Another product that launched the same day as ours, you can tell that I spent a lot of time looking at that list of products because I still remember all of these. I think it was called Smile, and it's a modular shelving system made out of recycled chopsticks that performed really well. And so, yeah, that's an example of one that's maybe not what you would expect to see on product hunt. It's not software, but they did a phenomenal job there. Their messaging was excellent and their imagery was really good. I think if it's a physical product and not a software product, I mean, or even really for a software product, because, for us, the imagery was really important in communicating the value, but just make sure that that imagery very clearly communicates the value of that product, whether it's a software solution and you're showing beautiful dashboards, or, a modular shelving system and you're showing, how beautiful and cool the shelves are. So yeah, I think the product hunt community, they like to try new things. They're early adopters. And so even if you're not in the software space, it still could be a great fit.
Amazing. And in terms of the offer, Nicole, do you think if, like in your case, you got people to bypass the wait list and sign up and try it out right away, do you think there is any data or would you see any pushback if they couldn't access the system right away and they had to talk to a salesperson to try it out?
I would have expected that we would have heard about it in the comments. I think, that's, and that's, if that's the way that, your model works, you need, there needs to be a personal conversation, that just is what it is. I think if that is your setup, be prepared to answer for it in the comments. People are going to want to know why, they want a low barrier to entry. If you're putting a barrier in the way, you're probably going to hear about it. So yeah, I think just making sure you're prepared to answer those questions in the comments.
Did you guys get any negative comments?
We did get some, and for the most part, everybody was very, polite, engaged. They were offering valuable feedback, so it wasn't, we didn't have any trolling or anything like that. But we did get some pushback on our pricing structure, and we actually did make some adjustments to our pricing structure based on the feedback that we got from the product hunt community. So it was actually very valuable feedback for us, and really that was it. I think pricing was the biggest one. There were a couple where people didn't quite understand the value. I mean, because for us, we're our ambition is really to be a category creator. We're trying to displace the free Excel spreadsheet that most founders are using for their financial model. So when you're saying, throw away that free thing and pay money for this new thing, we have to be able to very clearly articulate why there's value there and why that's worth doing. And so there was a little bit of back and forth around that, but for the most part, it was extremely positive. People were very excited, and people had really great feedback overall.
Awesome. I have to ask this question. This was a question from our head of marketing. When I told her that we are talking to you about product hunt launch, one thing she asked me to ask was, what's your messaging? And I know you crisped up the messaging into something very concise. Was it different for product hunt versus on your website? Or was it the same messaging that you use everywhere?
It wasn't the exact same in that it wasn't, a copy paste of messaging that was from somewhere else, but it was very similar. I think and you'll see this, a lot of times on Product Hunt, you might see more kind of cutesy or funny messaging. Our brand, our tone is pretty casual. So it's not like we have this super buttoned up corporate website and then, we had to sound cool to talk to folks on Product Hunt. We try to be pretty concise and straightforward. And also, it's financial modeling software. It's awesome. I love our product. I think we bring so much value, but I think it would stray into the territory of sounding a little inauthentic if we tried to make it sound, like super sexy and it's financial modeling software. For us, it was authenticity was really at the root of our, messaging approach.
Awesome. And if you could go back in time and change something about the launch, Nicole, what would that be? Or would you change anything, given the fact that you were number one anyway? So.
Yeah, we hit number one, which is great. I think I would have done a little bit more in terms of, once somebody clicked and got to our site, more to specifically welcome the Product Hunt community. I mean, we sent them to our Get Started page. We let them bypass the wait list, but I think other companies that I've seen do this really effectively, they have, even if they don't have a dedicated landing page for Product Hunt, they have a banner or a pop-up or something that says, speaks very specifically to the Product Hunt community. And so I would probably want to leverage something like that. But yeah, otherwise, we're really pleased with how it went. It was a great event for us.
Amazing. No, thank you so much, Nicole. This has been phenomenal. Like the insights that you shared. I know because we have been thinking about we are having a new product that's coming up and we're thinking of considering launching a product. And this is like golden stuff. So again, really, really appreciate you sharing this. And I know our audience will find a lot of value. And if people need to, connect with you, Nicole, or learn more about Finmark, what would be the best place to go?
Yeah, absolutely. They can visit finmark.com. You can reach out to me. I'm Nicole at finmark.com. Happy to answer any questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Nicole.